ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Let's Play Warframe. I'm your host, the most, as always, Francois878, and today we are taking a look at the Arca Scisco, the brand new Corpus laser pistol introduced in update 21.7, the final update before Plains of Eidolon. You can get the hype train going now, baby. Woo woo! Sorry. Moving on to the weapon. Some basic info for it. You do need to be Mastery Rank 10 in order to wield it. It is in the Corpus Energy Lab in the dojo, so you will need to research it before you can build it using the blueprint. Again, very, very reasonable research costs and build costs. Nothing too bad. The basic stats for the weapon: it deals 60 damage total. Slight advantage to puncture, but it's 60-40 with slash, so not a whole lot of difference there. 18% crit chance, 1.6 times crit multiplier, 26% status chance, 2.2 second reload, 36 rounds in the mag, 280 rounds total, with a 4.667 fire rate. Now, this weapon does have a special feature in that every time you land a hit with this weapon, with a max cap at 5, you will get 4% status chance and 4% crit chance. And that's a flat increase on top of your mods. It's beautiful. So you will, when you have the full buff running, you will get 20% crit chance, 20% status chance. It's a beautiful, beautiful buff. It is, again, in line with other secondaries like the dual Toxite and the Nell. Especially the Nell, considering this weapon also has a scope, 2 and 4 times zoom. Now, each one of the buffs only lasts for 2 seconds, and you do have to land 5 shots on enemies. So it is a buff that you will need to keep running, that you will have trouble running in between particular groups of enemies, but it's still really, really solid. Now, the two builds that I'm going to, or the builds that I'll show you today, do require 2 Forma. This weapon does come with 2 V polarities, which is very helpful. I've got Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, and Lethal Torrent on there for your multi-shot fire rate and your Hornet Strike. Obviously, I've got Primed Target Cracker and Primed Pistol Gambit for a little bit of crit chance and crit damage. That buffs your crit chance to 51% and your crit damage to 3.4, which is still a little low for a crit multiplier, but that seems to be the case for all the Arca weapons. They kind of have lower than average crit multipliers, but that's okay. We'll work around it. As far as the last 3 mods, I'm using 3 of the dual stat elemental damage status chance mods to get my status chance up to a whopping 97.4. Now, I know what you're thinking, Francois, why do you have all these dual stat mods on there? Why aren't you using the 90% mods? What's the purpose behind that? Especially if you get an extra 20% status chance with the target analysis buff. Well, the reason I'm using the 60% mods is because I didn't want to Forma the weapon again. This pistol is definitely my least favorite of the 3 Arca weapons. I still really like it. It's still a phenomenal pistol, and I really like the uniqueness behind the target analysis buff, and I like all of the pistols that have the unique buffs like this. However, I didn't want to have to exclusively rely on the target analysis buff to get to 100% status chance. Like I said, each level of the target analysis only lasts for 2 seconds. So even if you're fighting groups of enemies, more than likely you'll have 16 to 20%. But anytime you go in between groups or have to move around the map at all, you're almost certainly going to lose all of that status chance and all that crit chance. And I want to be able to proc status effects all the time, regardless of where my target analysis buff is. Plus, like I said, the weapon only takes 2 Forma instead of additional Forma, probably another 1 or 2 at the very least, to get 90% elemental mods on there, or some sort of physical mod if you guys wanted to run more slash damage. That being said, this is just my opinion. You guys can build your weapon however you would like, with the target analysis buff running at max capacity. I was getting a 71% chance to crit, which is really great, especially when you're proccing status effects like crazy. It's a real fun gun to use. I feel like the accuracy is a little janky sometimes. I feel like the shots land a little lower than what I think they should be. I could just be trash. That's absolutely a viable answer. But other than that, it's a real fun pistol. I really like it. The actual shot effects of the laser and the little light tendrils that come off are absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous weapon to fire, and the actual sound effect really does have a laser quality to it, and it just really works for the weapon really well. But that's about it for the Arca Scisco, which thank you again, DE, for your wonderful weapon names. It never gets old. And by that, I mean it absolutely gets old, and you should please just stop. But please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Warframe content coming very soon. I've been your host of the most, as always, Francois878, signing off.